Okay, so 2.2. Reconcile a bank statement. Anybody ever heard that term, reconcile?
We might have heard it used in other contexts, you know, if you're in a fight with somebody, maybe you try to reconcile the issue or what have you.
So if you recall, sometimes when you use your debit card or whatnot and make a purchase online, or if you write a check, does that money get withdrawn immediately from your account always? Sometimes it does, right? Sometimes it does not. Or if you pay your bills online, right? Sometimes I'll pay my electric bill, and they won't take it out of my account for sometimes almost a week or more, right? But that money, I still have to kind of consider that, you know, coming out of my account balance, right? So there's some terms and whatnot in the book there. Hopefully you read it, right? When you see the term starting balance, that's equivalent to saying opening balance. You might hear either one. They're pretty much equivalent. So outstanding deposits and withdrawals must be reconciled. What does that mean, outstanding? Not like, these are really great ones. That's outstanding. That's not what it means. Outstanding deposits and withdrawals must be reconciled. I'll tell you what that means in a second. Okay. So some transactions, right, don't always clear right away. So you might pull up your bank account and say, wow, I got, you know, $500 in there. Forgetting that a week ago you made a purchase on Amazon or something, or Walmart.com or some such thing, right? And you're not subtracting that from your balance, right? So maybe you made a $400 purchase. Is the bank showing the correct balance of $500? No. So you might go and make another purchase for $200 and you're in a little trouble, right? You can overdraft your account because you're not keeping track of it. You know, one day maybe you said, oh, I'll remember, I won't forget that I made that purchase, or I wrote this check. You know, maybe you won't. But, you know, what if you wrote 10, 15 checks that haven't cleared yet, right? Remember float? They tell you about float? Float is the time it takes when you write a check and send it in the mail, right? And it goes to the bank or the person you mail it to, and they take it to their bank, and then it has to get sent to your bank and go through the processing department, right? So they can take several days to clear. But your balance that the bank has does not recognize that yet, okay? So we're going to take a look at example 1. And I'm just going to say, that's the handout I gave you, right? You have a handout with a register on there, so you don't have to, you know, rewrite the whole thing or write in your book. So I'll just say C handout. Okay. Let's take a look at example 1. Below the bank statement, a check register for Michael BX, right? Checking account. What steps are needed? So when you reconcile, you're going through your register, right? And you're showing, okay, the bank shows I have $500, right? But what deposits and withdrawals is the bank including in that? So you look at your bank statement, you can pull it up online almost any time, right? And you can see, okay, here's this withdrawal. You put a check mark in the box. Everybody see the boxes there? Right? For reconciling. Now sometimes you use an R for reconciling. Clear, C for clear, right? It's cleared the bank, okay? But some of those deposits and withdrawals don't have a check mark next to it, okay? Now down below, there's his bank statement. And you'll get those in the mail sometimes once a month, or, you know, these days you can opt for paperless communication and you'll just pull it up online rather than getting it in the mail, okay? But look what they're showing down here, down at the bottom. They're showing the bank knows about a deposit of $35, $100, etc., right? They know about all these. So what you need to do is all the ones that are on your bank statement down there at the bottom of the page, you have to take a look at your register and put a check mark next to the one that the bank has. All the ones that the bank knows about, okay? So it looks like they've done this, okay? And what's the balance on the bank statement? Ending balance. 628.23. Is that your actual usable balance though? That they included, do they know about every transaction you've made? No, so we have to keep track of that. And so notice, as you look through here, there are check marks next to all the ones that the bank has. So, right, what you would do is you'd say, okay, here's a deposit of $35. Go to your deposit column. There's 35, right? And these check marks are probably from the last time you did it that they have there. So I'm going to go down to 35, okay? I'll do it in a different color here. And I'll put a check mark or an R in there, okay? And then they know about another deposit of $100, right? And there's only, well, there's one there they already know about on 10/15. When was this deposit of $100? What was the date? Right, so you know, look, so you know it's not that one, right? This was on October 15th. So there's a new one on 11/11 that they know about. Put a check mark next to that, or an actual check mark, okay? They also know about check 1770 for 158.08. So let's find check 1770 right here, and we'll check that the bank knows about that. So we're gonna, all right? And then 4650, that's 1768 for 4650. You'll put a check mark in there. This is all in the handout I gave you, right? And then 7464. That's this one. They know about that. And then 1950 is the other one. Is that a check? It's just a little, no, it's 1765. And usually it's like your checks are going order down the side here, usually, right? If you're doing it correctly. So that one, okay? So between the last time you did this and now, these are the ones that the bank knows about, right? So let's go through and circle the ones that the bank doesn't know about right now. You don't have to circle them in your actual register unless you want to, right? So we have what, $50 that they don't know about yet, it hasn't cleared to check your route, waiting on the float. What else does the bank not account for? This $18 check 1767, right? And then they also, it also has not cleared the check for 2910 to the restaurant. And there's $15 film developing. I guess
Cameras used to have film, and I don't know why they even have that in there. Everybody have a camera that uses film. You had to take it to the photo lab, have them develop pictures, and go back a week later.
But anyway, whatever. What else? Are there any deposits they don't know about? This 125 here, right? Okay. So let's go through and make sure there's nothing else that we've missed. We'll be pretty thorough about it. Looks like we have it all. So there's a balance that the bank shows of how much what is it? 628.38, right? Okay. So let's work through this real quick here. So the bank has shows a balance of 628.38. Okay. Okay, I misspoke. Thank you. So on the bank statement, I'll just write, yeah, bank statement. Right? They're showing a balance of 628.38. So when we reconcile, this process we're going to do to reconcile, we need to subtract out all the withdrawals they don't know about and add the deposits they don't know about. And when we do, we need to have the exact same number that we have in our register. So what is it after we reconcile what they show with what they don't know? We need to have a balance of what when we get done? Okay, so let's see what happens when we do that, right? So from that, we have to subtract a bunch of stuff, right?
6.8.3.
And you said that too, didn't you? Why do I have 38 stuck? Who knows? I don't know what goes on. 23. Okay. So let's subtract 50. And then 18, right? What else are we going to subtract? Let's just get all the debits here. And then minus 2910. Minus 2910. Right there. And then subtract another 15. Minus 15. Is there anything we should add? I think that was it. So we're going to add 125. The upper, it does that thing there. So plus 125. And then you'll get out your calculator. Go ahead and do it your head. No, that's easy. Okay. Now, I probably could, but I don't want to take the time, right? So that's when these devices are appropriate. And we should have what's called a revised statement balance, which needs to be the same as what you have. Revised statement balance. And did we get 641.13? Okay. And what is our check register balance? So the check register balance. So we want to see if there's any difference, right? So we would do minus 641.13, and we need to get 0. So the difference between, you get with the revised statement, right? We started with their statement, and then we threw in all the stuff that hasn't cleared yet, right? That they don't know about yet. And we got that revised statement balance. And when we subtract our register balance from that, you want to have 0 difference, okay? And so that means that this account just reconciled. We just reconciled the account, okay? When you get a 0 difference between the revised balance and yours, it's reconciled, right? So you know that you really have $641.13 to deal with in your account, rather than what the statement says. Anybody have any questions on that? Okay. You start with their statement balance, subtracting that, the stuff they don't know about, right? Get a revised balance, subtract yours, should be 0. If it's not 0 when you subtract it, you can go back and do some investigating and figure out what happened. Maybe you forgot to put something in there, right? That kind of thing. Maybe you doubled up, maybe you put something in twice accidentally. That can happen. Okay? We're going to skip a bunch of this stuff here. Here's the one I wanted to do, though. Yeah, let's take sample 1. Yeah, we already did that. The check for this, right? We already named some reasons, right? Mail, stuff won't clear, processing, etc. I want to do example 2. I want to do the check for example 2, so this will be kind of short here. So let's look at the example 2 check. Go back here. Check your understanding part of it. I'm going to skip the actual example. It said Nancy has a balance of $1,078 to register. Balance in her bank statement is 85 change. And there's some stuff not reported. Okay? So does her account reconcile? So what you're going to do over here is do something that looks like this. Okay? Start with the bank statement balance, right? Get a revised balance, subtract your register balance, and see if it is 0. Okay, so I want everyone to do that right now. No, we're doing the check for example 2. It's right up above. It's at the top of page 76, right above example 3. We're skipping example 2 itself. Just kind of moving. Yep. Joe wants you to set up you don't have to do like the check register. Like the check is assuming that you've already gone through and done the check register like we did with the last one, and you're just going to do the adding and subtracting from their balance. So what number are we starting with, guys? 885.84 is what, right? That's the bank statement balance. Okay. $885.84. And then you're gonna add or subtract some deposits and a couple of checks. Okay. $575. Anybody get the revised balance? Say that again? 8,000? Not sure about that. Just double check there. It'll be accurate. 1,078. No sense, right? Try it again. We added it, so this isn't complicated, right? But one of the places where the biggest error can be made is with the data entry. Like if something's really simple, but there's a lot of data to enter, there's where the mistake can happen, right? So hopefully you get 1,078 even. And what is your register balance? And when we subtract them, we get 0, right? Navigate that. Okay, so that account does reconcile. So if you get anything here in the revised balance that's different from your register balance, then you need to go back and look, right? So if you subtract them and you get anything other than 0, there's an error somewhere. That error possible could be on the bank's part too, right? It's fair because, you know, computers are not prone to make mathematical errors, right? But maybe you made a mistake in your check register, right? So you want to check and make sure you did your subtracting and adding, right? All that kind of thing. Maybe you accidentally put a deposit over in a debit column or vice versa, right? Maybe you actually subtracted a deposit, added a check to your balance, right? Goofy things can happen, especially, you know, run methamphetamine or something, you're not thinking clearly. Well, why wouldn't you? Even meth heads have to keep track of the money. Listen, if you're a meth head and you don't know exactly how much money you have, you're not a very good meth head, right? We're going to get you next. Yeah, right?
I mean, the lady at Puppies did a terrible. Showed up her card, she took the fingers.
Well, does she have to spend a lot of her money on it?
I don't know, she probably gets it for free.
Oh, well, I doubt that. Who would give it away?
Other methods.
Well, okay, let's go back to starting a business, right? I mean, it sounds like we have expenses, right? And you're giving away your product, so there's no revenue coming in. So if this is your business aren't you experiencing a net loss, no profit?
Yeah, but methods don't matter.
But the person supplies it does.
They probably do that too.
Well, they're not gonna be in business very long. Listen, I'm trying to help these people be successful.
Yeah, you're gonna go up and say, hey, you filmed this wrong.
They should be sitting here taking this class, right?
You gotta film the right way. It's
Right. Yes, I mean, if you're gonna operate some kind of drug business, you need to know like how to do the, the revenue, profit curves and stuff like that, and find the max and min, and optimize the revenue minus expense differences. Because if you don't, someone's just gonna roll in and take over the whole operation for you, You go, you file bankruptcy. Yeah, but let's say that you own stock in the meth business, right? What's your liability? If this dealer goes out of business, right? You own 50 shares of his, Meth Heads or Us business, right? What's your liability if his business fails? If you are a stockholder?
It's not.
No, you're just liable for the amount of your stock. You don't have to pay any of his debts, right? Okay. So if you're a shareholder in there. Okay. Anyway, that was absurd, wasn't it? Okay.
I'm not